What's up, guys? We are back with another podcast episode, and actually, this is the second time today we're recording it because for the first time ever, after 142 episodes, we recorded an entire episode and forgot to plug in Isaac's audio cable.
Yep. Wait, you weren't supposed to say anything. They were never going to know.
Instagram already knows. The real ones would know. So yes,
True.
We're recording this a second time, but I think we've got a pretty good episode. So this week we're checking out the new paddles that PPA pros were using this week, talking about the Selkirk Courtstrike shoes, talking about the redesign of some Honolulu paddles, which is very well welcomed. And then the big one we're talking about is the Vatic Pro V-Sole Pro and Power models. Those are coming out soon. We've now gotten to play the paddles, so we have some thoughts on that and want to compare it to the Quanta, since those are both going to be $99. And then in the kitchen, we're talking about some fitness stuff. So with Chasing 5.0, I've been working a lot on my recovery. I took a VO2 max test. I have some back updates, and just also why filming yourself is so beneficial. We've talked about it before, but I made some, I realized it again. I filmed myself this week and had some pretty big thoughts. So anyways, that's what we're talking about this week. It's going to be a fun one.
Yeah.
So to kick it off, the question of the week is, what is your favorite pickleball accessory or tool that you think is underrated? Now, this is not a paddle. We're not talking about paddles. We're talking about anything but a paddle. Mm-hmm. Could be a shoe, could be an insole, could be a training tool, could be something used for warm-up, a beezer ball, like anything that you just think is underrated. I've got a couple. I have a handful. So the first one I'm going to say, and we're going to come back to this later, and you're going to hear me harp on this a lot. This thing right here. If you're watching the podcast, if you're not watching the podcast too, this is a little phone tripod. It is from a brand called Ulanzi. You can buy this on Amazon. It is $20. It will fit in every single pickleball bag you have. It is small. It takes up no space. Filming yourself is one of the cheapest ways you could improve at pickleball. This will be the best $20 you ever spend if you care about improving at pickleball.
100%.
I promise you. So that's number one. The second one that I didn't think of the first time we recorded this, and I would add this in the underrated category, is stretch bands. So whether that is a band with no connection or a band that does loops so you can put it around your legs, both of those. Also, you can probably buy a set for less than $20. I bet you less than $10. Highly underrated for warm-up, which we'll talk about later. And then the final one, which is not underrated, and Isaac disagrees with me on this.
I hate this one.
The Oura water bottle. I love this thing. My water bottle, I had no idea I could love a water bottle so much until Oura. I had no idea.
I can't believe my brother is one of these. You're one of them.
Look. I'm not lining up at Target buying a bunch of these. I got one for my birthday, and I just think it is a great product. The ability to pop this lid open and drink it like it's a sippy cup. Elite.
You're getting a sippy cup for Christmas. That's what you're getting.
I got a sippy cup. Just buy me another Oura. Buy me a smaller or a bigger. You know what? I could use a smaller Oura to hold my electrolytes in.
That's crazy.
I'll take another one.
For those that don't understand, I have beef with not just water bottles. Obviously, I use water bottles, but trendy water bottles just aggravate me so much because it's just a water bottle. Every 3 years, there's a new trendy water bottle that everyone freaks out over. They're rating Walmarts and Targets.
I don't think anyone's rating for the Oura, though.
Oh,
the
I've
Stanleys,
seen. Oh, no, they did.
Okay,
oh, they did.
Okay.
Like, it's Yeti, Stanley, Oura. There's always a new one, and it's just, I find it so ridiculous.
Wait till the Chris Oura comes out next year.
Dude, I buy Chris Oura. Jeez. I buy a $10 water bottle from Walmart that is some no name, keeps my water cool in the sun.
You know what yours can't do? This.
Would you like it to mix your drinks for you too?
That would be awesome. I would love that if it could.
Gosh. Well, I mean,
here's the thing. For those of you listening, if you somehow don't, I was the one living under a rock. Braden informed me about these on a trip one time, but it has a straw that you can suck out of, but you can also just tip the water bottle up like a normal water bottle. And here's the thing. When I got it, I liked it. I was like, this is a great product. But then when I had a tournament where I lost it and I had to drink from a normal water bottle without a straw, I was like, this is barbaric. This is It's like playing pickleball with a wooden paddle. Why would we do that? We wouldn't do
don't
that.
equate it. That's not too far.
It would be like, I don't know what else. It's like playing pickleball with a cracked Dura. Why would you do that? You wouldn't. Buy yourself in a wallet. Treat yourself.
Crazy. You're crazy. I can't do it.
Okay, those are mine. Do you have any?
Yeah. I mean, mine is definitely going to be weighted tape because I like heavy paddles, and I think.
But you would say weight is underrated?
Yeah. Because if you go like. The only people who are really putting weight on their paddles are either nerds or higher level people and pros.
Sure.
Otherwise, the mass majority of people do not either understand how to use weighted tape or actually use it.
Sure.
And are just missing out on the benefits. And I think
I could see that.
There's so many paddles, especially nowadays, that kind of require weight to be playable and good, which we'll talk about. So I think weight is kind of an underrated product.
Suppose if you're looking at the mass market, definitely not underrated with this audience.
Or melons. Melons.
You know, that's a good one. I like
I'm going to go with melons for my other one.
There'll be some melon haters in the comments, but that's fine.
100%.
That's fine. Hate all you want. You can
don't
be a
know
hater like Isaac with the Awala water bottle. He'll get it one day.
You don't know until you have one. Except I've used an Awala, so I know it's overrated.
All right. Anyways, you let us know down in the comments what your underrated product is. Those are ours. Now let's talk about some pro paddles of the PPA.
Spoilers incoming. We're talking about pros in the tournament, so if you don't want to hear spoilers, skip ahead.
Yeah. So, okay. This week, last week, the new UPAA regulations went into effect, and we talked about that. So they have their own list. And I want to clarify before we dive too deep into this, because last week there was some confusion. Everything we are about to say only affects pro pickleball players, and then the even smaller subset is PPA pro pickleball players. This does not affect amateurs who play PPA events. It doesn't affect APP events. It doesn't affect you at your local money ball.
It doesn't affect 99.9999% of you. This is just a fun topic we want to talk about.
Yeah. So I want to make that clear, because last week there were people saying like, we can't use the boomstick. It's being banned. First of all, it wasn't even the boomstick. It was the weighting system on the paddle.
It's not banned.
Second, it was for pros.
Yes.
Not for 99, like you said, not for most of you listening to this podcast.
It does not matter.
So I just want to make that clear, because I can see how it gets confusing, right? If you don't follow the regulatory bodies kind of closely, you're like USAP, UPAA, they all have U's, P's, and A's in them. So you're like, who are we even talking about? So it's easy to confuse them. So totally. I get it. But just wanted to put that out there before we dove too deep. So, okay, because of that, a lot of the pros couldn't use the paddles that they normally use. So one of the big missing paddles last week was Proton. They had no paddles. The day after our podcast, they did get the Project Roadrunner approved, which is their edgeless Kevlar paddle, but not the Flamingo that all their pros use. So they have one paddle now. And then Pickle was also missing their paddles. So this week, Gabe and Tyra both could not play with their Pickle paddle. So Tyra was using what looked to be a C45 14mm Dynasty, the elongated, if I saw that correct in one of the pictures that I saw posted. And then Gabe looked to be playing with an Annalee Waters Paddle Tech. Both the C45 is definitely different than the Pickle, but it's a lot closer to the Pickle than what Gabe switched to.
Yes.
For sure.
Both pretty plush paddles with C45 and the, the Hurricane. Yep. But Gabe going from an absolute pillow, the Vantage Pro 16, to a 13mm Paddle Tech.
Yeah.
Is crazy.
Also, it's funny that, obviously it makes sense, but having them Sharpieing all over the paddle so you can't see the branding. It's so funny because you can still kind of see the branding if you look close enough, obviously.
If you know paddles, you know what they're using.
Totally. And it did seem like Tyra either had two C45 14mm, or in one picture, it looked like she had a 16mm one day and a 14mm another day, which is also interesting because Andre did the similar thing. He was using a Pro 4 Yola, and then the next day he was using a 3S.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the reason for switching was, but
more power?
Who knows? So Andre using that. Fed was using the 3S Dual elongated for singles, and then he was using a Scorpius 3S for doubles. Presumably the Scorpius 3S for doubles because the Pro 4 16mm Scorpius is not approved, and that's what he had been using prior.
Yeah.
CJ Klinger and Chris Hayworth were both using a Luz Cannon, which has been getting some buzz recently. The Kawamoto sisters were both using Yolas, and they just won a gold. So that's
crazy.
Huge congrats to them. That's crazy that they took out Annalee and Anna Bright. And then what even crazier was that final, because they were down 2 games and then won the next 3.
That was insane. That was a crazy final.
Yeah, that's really impressive.
I mean, the Kawamoto sisters, credit to them. They're great players, but I would not have ever expected them to first beat Annalee and Anna Bright.
Yeah.
And then Georgia and Tyra is just crazy. So they were just feeling good this weekend.
Yeah, they were on something. Alex Crum, who's an up-and-comer and has beat Fed twice now, I believe. He was playing with the Project Roadrunner, and he normally plays with the Flamingo.
Then lost to Fed.
And then lost to Fed. Wait. No, you're right. Yes, he lost to Fed this time.
Yeah.
Beat him the other 2 times, lost to him this time. Yes. So, yeah, there was definitely some paddle shakeups. I think there are a handful of others that I am unaware of. These were just kind of the big notable ones that I noticed. I was also told that the Yolas are actually different this time around. So Jason texted me and said that these Yolas all have lower grit because their RPM limit dropped from 2,200 to 2,100. So I guess all of the Yolas are supposed to be in that range now. So technically, their grit is lower than what it was in the past.
Oh, interesting.
At least that's what I was told. I don't have one in my hand to confirm, but that's what I was told. So thought that was kind of interesting seeing the paddle shakeups. People were still playing fine, but that can definitely be, I mean, for some of these guys, training with the same type of paddle every single day and then having to one tournament go to a whole new paddle.
At least for the Proton people, going from like Flamingo to a Pro 4.
Yeah, not too bad.
Pretty similar, and in my opinion, an upgrade.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. Yola's getting some pretty good advertising this weekend. First of all, the Kawamoto's winning.
Yeah.
Andre making the finals for men's and mixed.
Yep.
Not winning, but making it to the finals. Still big deal. So, I don't know. I think Yola's coming out on top on this one.
Yeah, I think Yola was the real winner this weekend. And what I would love to know is if they were giving them out to people, because I'm sure companies knew that players weren't going to have paddles available. So it's like, hey, if you don't have one here, or did Yola go for like the super power play move and make people buy it because they know that pros think they're the best paddles they have available in that list?
Realistically, what probably happened is all these pros are friends with each other, and we hear this all the time. They probably knew somebody who's sponsored by Yola, and they just gave them a paddle. That happens all the time. So yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case.
I'd be very curious because either way, if they went and bought them themselves, also a ringing endorsement for Yola on the Pro Tour.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised Yola didn't post anything about it. I wonder if there's...
I doubt there's anything about it, but I just don't know what you... I mean, you could post stuff, but I don't know. I guess I just don't take Yola as the company that's going to be like, hey, look, all these guys started winning when they used our paddles. You know what I mean? They don't strike me as quite like that.
Yeah.
So, okay, that was pro paddles on the PPA Tour this weekend. Next thing we wanted to talk about was some Selkirk shoes.
Yeah.
So, quick background on this. When we first got these in the mail, I was under the impression that this was a new version of the Courtstrike Pro. And Courtstrike, I have not tried these before. I think there was just a restock, and then I guess they were just sending them out, so that's why we have them. But yeah, I thought these were a new shoe. Don't think they are. So these will still be our first impressions, but they're probably not new to people who have tried this shoe. Okay, first thing I got to go over. My expectations were so low for this shoe because the first time Selkirk released a shoe, which they released under the Labs line, it was, I'm not exaggerating, the worst court shoe I have ever worn. Like, not even close. It was the worst shoe.
Completely agree.
I also want to say there was 2 versions. I think one was maybe 180, 160. Maybe it was 160 and the other was 140. It's been so long, I can't remember now. But we both got a pair. In a week and a half of owning that shoe, not only, even brand new, did I feel like I was skating on ice because there was no tread, which I've never experienced on a shoe. In a week and a half, the rubber was basically worn out on the bottom. I had pretty much blown a hole in the side of the shoe. And then, like, the support on the sides was so flimsy. Like, everything about that shoe sucked. There was not one good thing I could say about that shoe.
The only good things I could say was they didn't look bad, and they were pretty light.
They were light.
So those are the only 2 nice things I'd say. Otherwise, I agree with you on every other point. They were ice skates. They just tore through the tread extremely fast.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you said, our expectations coming into this were quite low.
I was like, okay, with how bad that shoe is messed up, I was like, could this shoe even be decent?
Now, on the bright side, though, didn't they partner with Zach the Foot Doctor to make these shoes or help design these shoes? Or is that a different one?
I think it was this, but I think they sent him some prototypes, and I think he gave feedback on it.
Got it. Okay.
I don't know that he helped design it, but just was probably like, hey, you could improve this.
Yeah.
So, getting someone involved who knows shoes, that was smart. But anyways, so this is the Courtstrike Pro that I'm holding up now. I actually think the shoe looks pretty clean. I think a lot of times pickleball companies, when they make a pickleball shoe, they go for something that's like too bold or too much branding, or it just...
I love that it doesn't say pickleball on it.
Yes.
I love that.
It does not need to say
The
pickleball.
one thing I will say is this is no fault to Selkirk. This is just how my brain works. Anytime, especially their font is very similar. Anytime I see an S on a shoe, it makes me think Skechers. So it makes me think of Skechers, but I don't know. I don't think that's a bad thing. I do agree. I think they look nice. They are actually quite comfortable.
Yeah.
I was expecting to not like these shoes very much because the heel toe drop is maybe not quite severe, but definitely noticeable.
Higher than what we're used to.
Exactly. Higher than my Jet Mox. So I was going into it because I know I don't like that, because I didn't like that on the Winner's Edge shoes.
Yeah.
But these shoes were quite comfortable. Toe box had a lot of space, but my foot still felt secure and snug.
See, that one's interesting to me because I did notice that too. It's also interesting. In pickleball, it's very interesting to me in pickleball that everyone who makes a shoe goes for this really wide toe box. And I'm not against that. I don't even think that's a bad thing. Actually, I think in a lot of cases for shoes, that is the better approach. But I feel like court shoes in general have always just been like tighter to your foot, and that's what I'm used to. Like, it doesn't have to squish my foot and kill it, but just more firm. So shoes that have huge toe boxes, I feel actually less stable because I feel like my foot just kind of wiggles around.
Moves around a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the mid part of the foot, it really holds onto your foot quite well, but isn't like uncomfortably tight, even when you cinch down the laces. And I will say around the ankle and heel, there is a lot of padding.
Yeah,
they
there's
are
a ton of padding.
quite like fluffy, squishy shoes. But at the same time, I never felt like it was going to come off my foot. So that was quite nice. I actually did. They're probably on the more comfortable side of shoes that I've worn. So,
I would agree.
And I'm very picky about shoes. So like these are high compliments coming from me.
Yeah, you're more picky than me. I am at a point where, I've known what shoe I've liked for a long time. The head revolts, those have been awesome for me. I know it's not for everyone, but they've been great. And so that and the Babolat Jet Tier 2, I actually like quite a bit. And the tread on those is crazy. I've had that shoe for a while, and I can, it's wearing out now. Like, there's definitely a smooth area, but on my Revolts or other shoes, they would definitely have a hole in them long before we're there now. So that's a good shoe. The laces on those never stay tied for me. They're just like, it's like a flat lace.
Yeah.
Anyways, I could replace the lace.
The biggest thing to find out with these, we've only got a couple play sessions wearing them. So the tread, the one nice thing is I will say the traction is very good. I never feel like I was slipping. I was able to slide in them. So traction is very good, but we just don't know how durability is going to be because we haven't actually worn them a lot yet. But so far, I mean, you're already dragging the side of it over here.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how the durability holds up. I feel like I've heard people complain about the durability of these. So I'm very curious because, especially with Chasing 5.0, I'm kind of playing a lot, so I'm sure I'll cook through shoes. But these do have a 6-month outsole warranty, which is nice to see, and they're also 120. Most court shoes that I've bought, usually about 140 to 150, I would say. So 120 for the higher end model is a nice touch. And then you have the regular Courtstrike.
Yep. These are just the normal Courtstrike, not the pros. Honestly,
I don't really know what the difference is.
I don't really know what the difference is other than just an upper design change. It's a little bit different. I will say it's a little bit tighter in the toe box. The outsole looks to be the same material and pretty much the same, and just a bit of a design change. I don't know if I quite like these as much as the pros, comfort-wise.
Sure.
I think the pros are a little bit more comfortable. I think these look nice. Like I could wear these as like just a day-to-day shoe. Like if I was going to be walking around doing stuff and then I knew I was, or maybe vice versa, going to play pickleball and then go do stuff and I didn't have a change of shoes, like these would probably be what I wear because they don't look like pickleball shoes.
Sure.
Really. So yeah, they've been good shoes. I like them, and I'll continue to wear them until I go through this hole.
Yeah, I'll see. So far I've had no issues with the 3 sessions I've played, but with tournaments coming up, I may just go back to my regular shoe just so I know my equipment or whatever, and I'm super confident in it. But it seems like they've definitely, not that the bar was very high with the other shoe, but they definitely did better than that.
Yeah.
I would say this is on par with probably a lot of shoes. However, the thing that I always look at when I'm thinking of like a pickleball company making a shoe is I'm like, okay, you're competing against people who like do this for a living. Babolat, Nike, New Balance, Asics. Like, I'm just always skeptical that a non-shoe company is going to make a better shoe than companies that do this for their entire everything.
Right.
So who knows? We'll see with these. I think the price is good. I think having a 6-month outsole warranty is great. The ones you mentioned are $100. So they're not overpriced shoes.
I think the original Selkirk shoes, the Labs ones, waste of money. These ones would actually be worth buying.
Okay. Sure.
Is how I'd put it. Like, these are good shoes. I could go play a tournament in them and not have any issues.
Sure. Yeah. So we'll keep you guys updated on the tread if we keep using them, and then we'll go from there. Okay. First thing we want to talk about now that we've gotten to some paddles is Honolulu has finally, they heard the cries.
Yeah, they listen.
They heard the cries.
After a few years,
they updated the design.
Finally, we get something different.
Kind of. So here's the thing.
A little bit.
This is a new shape they have. This is the J6 FC Plus. This is just an elongated paddle with a kind of sharp corners up here.
It's very boomstick-ish.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I don't really know what the point of doing the J7 Plus this was. Like, I feel like it's kind of like typical Honolulu fashion where it's like similar thing. Like, I think the J7 might have a slightly longer handle. Anyways, I don't really know what the point of this release was, but that's kind of their MO. More importantly, as you'll notice, white edge guard, not a gray edge guard. Mm-hmm. And looking at this paddle face, black with very clear text what model this is.
Yeah.
J6.
I mean,
FC
the naming
Plus.
scheme of their models are still terrible.
Yeah.
But one step at a time.
Yeah,
We're making improvements.
Yeah. So, those of you who are not listening, it's just white text on the side that says J6 FC Plus. All the rest of the text is basically blacked out. For those of you who care or don't care, it still has a Bible verse at the top. But the graphics are just much more simplified. And I think the white edge guards just always look good. Like the carbons look good. The arrow looks good. Mm-hmm. Anything with a white edge guard just looks clean.
I remember when the Ruby first came out, that one looked really nice. I mean, the white and red. But yeah, white edge guards look good.
So, I would not call this, this design is not winning any awards, but it's at least different from the other ones.
It is well received.
I don't know
if
if
much rather take that.
I don't know if their other paddles are going to get this. So we got the J2 long handle and NF and FC Plus, and those are the old graphics. So I don't know if they're all getting updated or if it's just these. Hopefully it's not just these because I don't know that this will be the most popular shape in the world. But
I don't know. I was hitting it this morning and I didn't hate it. Drives felt good. It still just
but you're an elongated punk.
I am, because they're just better. You'll learn. You're slowly getting there.
Yeah, we'll see.
But yeah, it just felt like an FC Plus in an elongated shape. Nothing new.
Yeah, actually, I guess quick side note. So for those of you who remember me talking about the duds, it would appear in the just a little bit of bouncing I've done on the long handles that those play exactly how I'd expect. I know that Honolulu took some time to kind of work on some manufacturing consistency. So who knows? Maybe I got lucky with those ones. But if them taking the extra time, they claim they knew what the issue was. I'd like to think they had the issue worked out and solved. And the ones I have seem to be fine.
I don't know.
So,
we've heard that before.
We have heard that before. So we'll keep you guys posted. As soon as more people in my local area have them, I'll make sure to hit theirs and confirm. But all right, moving on to the main topic.
Yes.
Vatic. So
V-Soul.
These were supposed to come out a while ago. Technically, it was actually only going to be one originally. And I would say for Vatic's sake, it's a good thing that this did not come out originally. I think the rework they did made these paddles much better and having a second option. So there's two. There's a red one and a blue one. The blue one is the Pro, which has basically like what a lot of the paddles coming out are now, an EPP foam center and then an EVA foam ring, which this one goes all the way around the entire paddle. And it's a thicker EVA
One thing
ring.
I will say is it would have made a lot more sense if they just named it V-Soul and V-Soul Pro. Instead of V-Soul Power, just get rid of the power part, and we'll get into that more later, but I think that would have made way more sense.
Yeah. I agree, for sure. Because power and pro, you're like, wait, is the pro's like power? So do I want the power or do I want the pro?
Exactly. It's confusing. It's like, is there supposed to be a hierarchy here of which one is better or worse? I mean, not necessarily, but it's more confusing than it should be, in my opinion.
I'd agree. So red one's the power, blue one's the pro. The red one is similar design to the V core that was going to come out. It's a full EPP core, and then it has indents in the foam, and then they made a couple tweaks either to face layup or I'd have to read the email again, but basically they just made it less stiff and they made it a little bit more forgiving than the last V core was.
And hopefully improved durability.
Yes,
disbonding
they did claim that should not be a problem now, but we'll see. So, okay, let's talk about some specs. Let's start with the blue one. These are the pros. The Bloom shape, which is the wide body, we're just going to go over the swing weights here. The Bloom had a swing weight of 106. The Flash was also 106, which is crazy, because for a hybrid shape, that's very low. The Flash long handle, which I think is actually technically closer to an elongated. It might be a little longer than the normal hybrid. But anyways, that one was 112. The V7, which is a short handle, elongated square top paddle, had a swing weight of 113. And then the V7 long handle, which is the same thing as the V7, but with a longer handle, had a swing weight of 114.
That's crazy.
So all very low across the board. Wide body, hybrid, elongated, all very low. You can customize them if you want, plenty of room. And then for the power series, the red one, the Bloom, which is the wide body, was 108. The Flash, which is a hybrid, is 110. The Flash long handle was 114. The V7 was 117, and the V7 long handle was 119. So all of those are still pretty low. I'd say that's getting closer to average is really, well, I guess if I look at it closely, the V7s are in normal range. 117, 119 for an elongated.
Those are pretty normal.
That's pretty normal these days. So swing weights are a little bit higher on the red ones, but nothing bad. Like most everyone, you'll be able to swing those. You have no complaints. Okay, so now that we got the swing weights out of the way, let's go over just kind of how we feel about these paddles. So the blue one, the Pro, both of us hitting this, I think our general consensus is that it will be the higher potential ceiling this paddle has. Like, I think it will be able to have more power, more pop. Like, if you want more out of it, you can get it with weight. Whereas the red one just doesn't feel like it has that same ceiling.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's better or worse, but like if your objective is power, I think you're going the blue one, the Pro.
I also think with weight setups, you can improve the sweet spot more on the Pro than the power. But if we're just talking no weight stock versus stock, the power probably has a bit better sweet spot out of the box.
Sure.
More stability, just probably because they're heavier, have more weight behind them. Plow through's a little better, stability's a little better. I think if we're just talking out of the box, the Pro or the power is a little better than the Pro. But personally, I would still take the Pro.
Yeah, I think I obviously need more time. We haven't really played any games yet. It's just been you and I hitting a couple times to try them out. But the blue one, I think for both of us was more exciting immediately, especially after we added weight. It got very exciting. And I think one of the big benefits of this, so the blue one to me, it's, I guess, funny that it's blue because the Ronbus is blue, but the Pro is going to be the competitor to the Quanta, the more even direct competitor.
Because it's $109 before a code.
For both of them.
For both. $99 after a code.
And the VSOL Pro has a similar design.
Yeah.
As the
EPP
Ronbus.
core, floating core, the EVA ring.
Yep. So what I would say is out of the box, it is better than the Quanta. The Quanta, to me, out of the box, is missing a lot of attributes. It's not very stable. The ball gets pushed around a lot. Like, it benefits massively from weight. I wouldn't recommend most people play that stock.
Yeah.
This, I could hand this to someone and have them play it stock, and I think it would be fine. I do think it is better if you weight it up, but if you were going to give 10 people a paddle, you gave them a VSOL and you gave them a Quanta and said, hey, which one do you like more in this stock form? I'm betting you the vast majority of them will choose the Vatic.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say the Quanta, I would change its name stock to the unplayable. Without weight, it's truly unusable. But with weight, it then becomes an actual paddle. You can slap the Quanta name back on it.
It becomes pretty elite once you have weight.
Versus the VSOL Pro, I could play with it without weight stock, probably wouldn't be my first choice.
Yeah.
But it would be fine. And then with weight is when it becomes like a top tier paddle.
Yeah, agree. So they both, I still should have weight, but one of them I think is more playable. And that's basically for those of you who are like, you know what, I don't want to add weight. I just want it to be good out of the box. That's who I'd be pushing the
It's
V-Sol
one of those
towards.
things where it's like, if you want like a boomstick, a loco, avatar, but you don't want to spend that much money and you don't really like using weight, then the V-Sol Pro is what you want. Don't buy the Quanta.
Yeah.
Where they both can benefit from weight, but the V-Sol Pro does not need it.
And I would say that once they have the weight, they become a lot more equivalent. At that point, I don't think it's wow, the V-Sol Pro is so much better than the Quanta, or the Quanta's way better. At that point, I think how the ball comes off the face and the feel of it, people might have a little bit of a preference, but I think the pop and power, they become in a similar tier, which is high tier power.
Yeah.
Right? So at that point, if you know you're going to slap a bunch of weight on it, I almost don't think it really matters which one you pick. I would say the Quanta is probably a little stiffer.
I will say if I had to choose between the two, I would definitely lean towards the V-Sol because the feedback difference is not drastic, but noticeable enough just because I know my personal preferences quite well that the V-Sol Pro fits my preferences a lot more, where the Quanta, the more I've been using it, the less I've actually been liking it because I feel like I don't like the feedback off the sweet spot. And I feel like the drop off is a bit more drastic than some of these other floating core foam paddles where it's a bit harsher of a feel and harsher of a feedback. And I feel like it vibrates a little. I know a lot of you guys hate that term, but that's just the way it feels. Where the V-Sol Pro has a bit more of a plush, springy feel and not quite as stiff.
Sure. I can see that for sure. So basically what I would say is, we'll get to the red one in a second here, but the main difference you're going to find between the red one and the blue one is the blue, I would say, is going to be more so for people who like the feedback and feel of a Gen 3 style paddle. It's stiffer. It's a little more hollow. It's got that like thuddy sound. That is the Pro. The red one, the feel becomes more dampened. It becomes a softer feel. That doesn't mean it can't hit hard, but like the feedback is very different. Mm-hmm. So for those of you who are kind of against the feedback of Gen 3 paddles, the red one is who I would say that's more for. Personally, like I said, power in the red one, I don't really think it hits harder than the blue one, like maybe out of the box, but I think the overall potential firepower is higher on the blue one. We haven't slapped weight on the red one, but I just get this feeling that weight is not going to benefit the same way that it does on the blue one.
Agreed.
I just think it's going to be drastically more of an impact on the blue. So, yeah, red's not bad. I think it's just a softer, different type of feedback. Some people will probably find that more pleasant than the hollow, more thud, slightly stiffer feel of the blue. But, yeah, I would say red wasn't the one I would choose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wasn't as exciting.
To me, it felt almost like when I did miss, it felt a little bit more noticeable than on the blue one, particularly when the blue one had weight.
Oh, yeah.
And when we did add weight, which, by the way, if you guys are curious, I just did a quick setup the other day. This is the flash long handle. To make it kind of equal with the Quanta that I've been doing, I did the same boomstick style weight, which is 15 grams of weight at 3 and 9. And holy moly, when you put this weight on this paddle, it just it clobbers the ball.
It zooms.
It goes
fast.
At the first drive I hit at you,
overheads, like it moves.
You cannot possibly complain if you do that weight setup on this paddle. You cannot possibly complain about power. If you're still complaining about power, nothing is going to satisfy you.
Agreed.
It's plenty of power. You don't need more than that. Yeah. In fact, I think if it was more, people would probably be complaining. So yeah, that's kind of the thoughts. As we get to play test these more and we work on a review, we'll let you guys know what we think. But overall, for $100, you cannot complain. It could be $200 and it would still be just as good. Like it is more impressive because it's $100, but it didn't have to be $100 to be good. I think it would have caught people off guard for Vatic specifically if they released a $200 paddle. But if any other brand released this, if Selkirk released this, if Carbon released this, if Yola released this, people would probably lose their minds all the same. So the fact that you can get this at $100 is ridiculous.
It's crazy. It's a good paddle.
Yeah.
And it has a lot of shape options.
Yeah. Same basically 5 shape options as the Quanta. And that's one of the things, we'll give a little bit of a comparison here to the Quanta, because I think, both being $100 full foam cores, floating, people now have some options. So one of the things that I think the reason you would pick a Quanta is, one, if you really want as light as you can go, the Quantas are a little bit lighter stock than the VSOL Pro, both in static weight and in swing weight. Not a huge difference, but if you're just trying to maximize for low because maybe you have wrist problems or maybe you have a kid, you'll technically be able to do it easier.
But you will not get the power potential that we are talking about unless you add quite a bit of weight.
But even I think you're going to add that same amount of weight to these to like really bring out the same, potential, kind of like how I added the 15 grams here. So you'll still be lower on the Quanta. If it starts at 102 swing weight and that starts at like 108, it's still going to be lower on
I
the
don't
Quanta.
know if this needs as much weight.
Maybe,
remember
maybe
when you
not.
were talking to Lewis about how he had his Quanta set up and then you tried that and it just didn't feel good with the half gram?
Yep.
I think you could put less weight on the VSOL Pro to get it to play as well as a Quanta with more weight.
Maybe. We'll have to try it. I've only tried slapping the 15 grams on it right away.
Yeah.
But that would be a reason to choose the Quantas if your goal is trying to go as light as you can. Another reason could come down to the shape options. So they do have slightly different shapes. For example, with the Vatics, Ronbus doesn't have a equivalent for the elongated short handle paddle, which a lot of people love that shape.
For some reason.
I know. It's personally my least favorite shape in all of pickleball, but they do have it. Their wide body shapes are a little different. The R5 is probably closer to the Bloom, and then the R2 is like more traditional, kind of like a Scorpius. Personally, I think I prefer that over Vatic's Bloom shape a little bit, but there are some small shape differences that may sway you one way or another. If you already own a Quanta, you just got one because it just came out, you do not need a VSOL Pro. I promise. Either of them, you don't need it. Like, especially the blue one, it's just a lateral change. Going to change how it feels a little bit, but with weight, they both hit really hard. They're both great power paddles. You don't have to go and buy a VSOL Pro. And if you're going to buy a VSOL Pro, you don't need a Quanta.
Exactly.
There is no reason to own both.
They're so similar. It's you really need to know what your personal preferences are. Like, if you're like me, it would matter, but if kind of like you, it could flop either way and it's not that big a deal. Like, I could use either one just fine, but I definitely have a preference.
Yeah, I think right now I don't have a huge preference yet without playing games on it, but if you made me in a tournament switch between the VSOL Pro and the Quanta right now, I think I'd be just fine. Yeah. And I wouldn't be like, oh no, like I can't, this one's so hard. It's like they're similar enough to where I'd be fine. So you really can't go wrong with either. And then, with the red one, if you're someone that doesn't like that Gen 3 hollow thuddy feel, then with Vatic, you've got another option that's a little softer, still hits pretty hard, but probably not going to be as jumpy, particularly in pop, as the blue one.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I would say. Yeah, they're just both great paddles, but, just like everything coming out, it's like if you already got a great thing, no need to pick it up. Mm-hmm. Just for people who are shopping around now you've got more options.
Nope.
So, okay, that's the Quanta. That's the VSOL. Great job, Vatic. I do think them waiting to release these was a good move because that V-Core, I think, when we first hit it, I remember us saying, like, yeah, like, it's good for $100, but I would rather recommend, like, a J2NF or, like, any other foam paddle, basically.
Yeah.
Now these are good enough that I'd be like, yeah, this competes with all those other ones.
Agreed. I definitely lean towards the Pro. That would be my recommendation.
For sure. Okay, you've made it to the kitchen. We finally got something for the kitchen this week. I have another question, if you've made it this far. If any of you have used Whoop or an Oura ring, did you find it beneficial or not? I'm thinking about buying one of these. I'm personally an Apple Watch user. I have been for a long time. I like the notifications for when I'm on court.
You're going to have a ring on, 2 watches,
an armband,
chest band.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to have 6 different gadgets all over your body.
Super health guy. Yeah, so I currently use an Apple Watch, and I love it. I think it does most things great, but it does seem like Whoop and Oura are a little bit better at tracking certain health metrics, and I just think while doing Chasing 5.0 and amping up my fitness, it would be more fun to track some of those stats. I've already read the pros and cons. I know why people don't like Whoop. I know the subscription's a big downside, But for those of you who have actually used it, I'd love to know what you think, particularly if you've used it for pickleball or running. Currently, I'm using my Apple Watch and then an app called Bevel, which kind of simulates a similar thing, but I still question, since like the Apple Watch only does heart rate readings in certain intervals rather than all the time, I just question how accurate certain things are. But anyways, got a few things that I think would be fun to update you guys on. So one, my back pain. Pretty much gone these days. It has been 2 years of dealing with this, and I would say the last 3 to 4 months really heavily working on my back. My walking hours have gone up significantly. I actually just checked. I've walked 90 hours total since June. So my walking has gone up significant amount. I stayed on top of my PT. As some of you know, some of my back problems was actually related to my right hip. And now that I've been working on my hip, it started to relieve a lot of pain. So this last 2 weeks, I've done multiple double sessions. I've drilled, then I've played games, and I wake up the next day and I feel great. I'm ready to go again. And so I haven't felt this good in a long time. And I will definitely not take my health for granted again. That was miserable. And so I will...
Dude, back pain sucks.
Yeah, it's terrible. I mean, if for those of you out there who have had true back pain, you know. Once you experience it, you don't want it.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy to say I'm pretty much back pain free now, which is awesome.
Nice.
Now, the other test or thing I wanted to bring up is I took a VO2 max test this week. So the physical therapist I go to, they let me take a VO2 max test there. For those of you who don't know, VO2 max is basically how much oxygen your body can take in and use during exercise. A higher number is better. It's associated with better cardiovascular. I think there are a lot of longevity benefits associated with having a higher VO2 max. The number, I think, can go below 30.
That's crazy.
Below 30 is very low. I think even below 40 is considered poor. 40 is like probably below average. It's all dependent on age too. Depending on your age, like different numbers mean different things. Like being in your like a VO2 max of mid 40s in your 60s would be like elite. Like for that age, it'd be crazy. But for someone younger, it wouldn't be as good. Anyways, it's just a good health metric and relates a lot to your cardiovascular. So I took this test, and my watch going in told me I have a VO2 max of 50, which is, an estimate. It's not as accurate as this test because you have a mask on, you're running, like it's done very differently. So going in, I said my prediction for my VO2 max would be 47 because I figured my watch was overestimating and probably trying to make me feel good. So my expectations weren't super high because once you go above 50, that probably means you probably run. If you're above like 60 and if you're above 70, you're like Olympic athlete. Over 60, you're probably doing some cardio.
Yeah.
Like you're in
good health.
So anyways, I did this test, which by the way, so they hook you up with this mask to take your oxygen while you're running on this treadmill. And they do it in stages. So stage 1 is walking, and you're walking at an incline. It's like a 10-degree incline, and it's like 2 miles an hour. Then after 3 minutes, they go up to like 4 miles an hour, or like 3 miles an hour. Then 2 minutes pass, you go to 4 minutes, and you keep going up. And I think there was 8 stages for the test I did. And then if you get to stage 8, I can't remember exactly what the number is. I want to say you're running like what? You're gonna say something?
Well, I was gonna say the guy that was doing the test with you said that he's only ever seen one guy make it to the last stage.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah, because I was one off of the last stage, so I was glad to hear that he's only seen one guy do it.
Yeah,
made me feel better. But anyways, so yeah, you keep building up. The incline keeps going up. The speed goes up until you hit failure. You just tell the guy like, I can't go anymore, and then you stop. So my score was 62.3.
It's pretty good.
I was stunned.
That's pretty good.
Because over 60, like the only people that I associate with over 60 are people who are super into running and cardio. And like, I've been walking a lot, but I don't really run besides pickleball. So I don't know. That was, my ego definitely grew a little bit that day. I was like,
definitely.
Dang.
See, now we got to have me take the test. And let me tell you, I will run on that treadmill till I pass out or have a heart attack if it means mine is 62.4. Okay? I will do literally whatever it takes to have a higher score.
Dude, I will die of laughter if you got 62.2.
I would be like, we're retaking this right now.
I would hang it over your head until the end of time.
Forever.
That might be the one thing that gets Isaac to start running.
True. Actually, yeah, this would be the one thing to motivate me to start running. 100%.
So anyways, I just wanted to share that because I was really proud of that.
That's pretty awesome.
Not something I was expecting, and I think it was pretty cool. So, okay, anyways, moving on to some stuff that's probably more applicable to everyone listening to this podcast. I wanted to talk about recovery because with doing the Chasing 5-0 series, I was like, you're going to put your body through more pickleball than you've probably ever put it through. That means you're going to have to take this stuff more serious. You're going to have to make time for it. And so I've already been good at doing dynamic warm-ups before playing, but my stretching afterwards has always been bad. So let's start with dynamic warm-ups. For those of you who don't know the difference, there's static stretching and there's dynamic stretching. Dynamic stretching is usually what you're going to do before you play. It's usually not recommended to static stretch before you play. I'm not going to get into all the reasons. You can probably find that online. But dynamic warm-ups where you're actually moving is better for warming up for play. So that could be things like lunges, squats, doing stuff with a band that involves some movement, jogging around the court, doing some side shuffles, like lateral band walks, like things where you are stretching your muscle, but you're also moving throughout it and you're not just holding a pose. So you can find all sorts of dynamic warm-ups. If you want to find some good ones, you can look up ones for tennis and they will be plenty applicable to pickleball. I have my own little routine, but in one of the Chasing 5-0 episodes, I'll go over it because without the visual of it, I don't know the name of all these exercises. I just do the thing and I know it works. So look that up. Highly recommend it. Your body will feel better when you're playing. It'll feel better after. And then once you finish playing, stretching has been something I have done on and off, but I've never been that strict about it. And the way I always did it was way after I finished playing pickleball. So I'd play pickleball, I'd talk for 30 minutes, I'd drive home for 30 minutes, I'd make myself some food, I'd shower, then I'd stretch. So it's like 2 hours later. My body's cold now. I probably have to do some dynamic stretching just to get warm enough to static stretch again. And I was doing reading and people were like, yeah, you should really do your stretches within like 20 minutes of finishing your exercise. And so if I have the option, I'll do kind of like a cardio cool down. I'll get on a bike or I will do like a light jog on a treadmill. I don't always have that option. I don't have that at home. If I'm at a Lifetime, I can do it. But so I don't always have that. If I don't have that, I'll just go straight into static stretching. So I'll do stuff like hamstring stretches. I'll just stand straight up. And one of the ones I learned because of my back was instead of like bending over and trying to touch your toes and letting your back round is like actually keeping your back completely locked and straight and then bending at your hips. You'll still get a very deep hamstring stretch, but then it's not as hard on your lower back. So I do that one personally. I do some calf stretches. I'll put my foot up against the net and just stretch it out. I'll do like 30 seconds and then do 2 or 3 rounds of all of these things. And there's a handful of stretches. I'm not going to go over all of them, but I'll try and do upper and lower body. Make sure I hit my calves, my hamstrings, my hip flexors, my actual hips, my upper back. That's kind of the main routine I do right now. Then maybe a little bit for my lower back. But that alone, I never would have guessed how big of a difference that would have made to my ability to play the next day. I'm not just talking about stretching because I've done that in the past. I'm talking right afterwards and staying consistent. So the last 2 weeks, which I have stretched almost every single day for the last 2 weeks, I have been able to do double sessions, games and drilling for 2 hours and then games for 2 hours, stretch, and then when I wake up the next day, I'm expecting to hurt because I'm used to that. I would wake up and be like, oh, my back like feels bad, my leg hurts, my shoulder's tight. After doing this, I would have said, before if you asked me, I would have said 10% improvement, 15, 20 if you're lucky. It's a 50 to 75% improvement.
See, that's crazy.
Like
that's a big jump.
I literally, when I wake up, have woken up the last couple, like 5-6 days and get out of bed, I could go play pickleball immediately. I would obviously have to warm up, but I feel good enough that I could do that. Normally, I'd be like, oh, everything hurts. I don't want to play pickleball today. Now I feel like elite. So
Dang.
I would really not underestimate how big of a difference a proper stretching routine, and I don't even think mine's that great yet. I think it's okay, but I think there's better.
That's definitely the thing I need to get better at. Stretching afterwards is something I just don't do really, and that's something I definitely should be doing. I feel like I'm definitely just in a rush to either get home, eat, or go, like I have something after pickleball that I just forget to do it, but I really should prioritize doing that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are similar. I think they're either in a rush or they don't think about it. No one really wants to do it. Like, I'm not going to say I've loved sitting there stretching every day. Like, to me, it's kind of an annoying thing that I don't really want to do, but now that I've seen how much better it makes me feel, I'm like, this is a non-negotiable. I don't care how much you don't like it. You're going to do it.
Yeah.
Because you feel so much better. And I think even when people finish playing, a lot of times they're standing at the courts for 20 minutes talking to their buddies. Stretch while you do that. Stretch out your hamstrings, like sit on the ground, do some stretch. Like, it's worth it.
100%.
I would, if you guys are having issues and pain, find a way to make time for it. It's worth it. Like for me, for my dynamic stretching, I will show up 10 to 15 minutes before everyone else gets there so that I can do it and not have people be like, hey, can you stop stretching so we can play?
See, I think that's something more people need to do, because then we'd have people not being late all the time.
Yeah.
That is probably one of the most annoying things, getting to a group. You got 3 people there and you're waiting like 20 minutes for somebody to show up.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. Traffic sometimes, stuck at work, things happen. But if you're able, show up 10, 15 minutes early, stretch, get ready. I always try to be as early as possible to stretch and get ready for everything.
Because the way I see it is, okay, let's say a start time for pickleball is 6 o'clock. That, in my opinion, that means I'm hitting a ball at 6 o'clock.
We're starting a game at 6.
So I am doing all my warm up and being done with it before and I don't mean starting, you don't have to start the game at 6, like maybe you're warming up, like literally hitting the ball. That's fine. But I don't want people to show up at 6, stretch for 10 to 15 minutes, and then we start hitting balls, right? So to me, I just always prefer to get there earlier. No one hassles me. I can just do my thing and not worry about it. So that's a non-negotiable for me. The only times I will ever skip it now is if I'm late, which is very rare, but it has happened, and it happened even in this last week. And then I'll be like, okay, I'll do it something really quick and then get on the court.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be the guy holding people up.
Agreed.
So stretch before, stretch after you play. It makes a gigantic difference. And I'm telling you right now, if you're one of those people that's like, oh, you know what? I don't really need it. Yeah, I thought the same thing when I was young. And then I had such a bad back injury that now I'll never not do it again. Because all it takes is a nagging injury. I have multiple friends right now that have big nagging injuries. And your quality of life goes down severely when you have those.
And you haven't even hit 30 yet.
I know. But now I'm probably about to feel like I'm 22 again. It's great. It's awesome. So yeah, take it serious, guys. Like once you have a serious injury, you'll wish you had done it. Prehab is better than rehab.
Yep.
Okay, next up, diet. I'm not an expert in this. I'm not even going to claim to be, but I am trying to clean my diet up a little bit. Less processed food, less junk food. I don't really drink soda, and I eat candy here and there, but sparingly. It's more like a treat. But just trying to take out more of the junk food. I'm not going to get rid of all of it. I'm not trying to be Novak Djokovic out here and only eat plants and fruits. You know, that's not quite my thing. But just trying to get rid of stuff that I know is bad for me and add in more things that are good for me. More whole foods means a little bit more cooking, more protein, trying to hit about 120 to 150 grams of protein a day. And doing all of this has also contributed, I have to imagine, to me feeling better.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I'm only on like a week and a half of it, but I do feel better.
Well, it reminds me, you said when you went on that 6-0 trip to China, you ate a bunch of food over there. You came back here and ate some fast food, and you said immediately you felt horrible. Just more processed foods here. Your body just wasn't used to it. So, yeah trying to clean that up definitely will help a lot. You got to try the super protein breakfast that I used to make.
Yeah, what's that?
So I used to go to Costco. Well, I still shop at Costco, but I used to buy 5 dozen eggs at a time, and it would be
the thought of that many eggs makes me want to barf. I wish I liked eggs more because they're so easy protein.
Well, there's so many ways to cook them.
I know.
There's so many ways.
I know there's so many ways, but I get sick of them so fast.
Bro, you can make omelets over easy, scrambled. You can season them hard-boiled
is I can do without get's getting too tired of it.
Hard-boiled's easy, yeah, and hard-boiled easy to store them.
Yeah.
Throw them in the fridge. Just got like a little ball, pop it in, done.
Yeah.
It's great. So I would cook in the morning. Now, I hate breakfast, but when I was trying to bulk, when I was powerlifting a lot, I was just cramming protein and eating as much food as possible to the point where I basically felt sick to try and bulk because I struggled to gain weight. So
as you can see looking at him.
I know, I'm a twig. It doesn't look like I used to power lift, but I would eat 10 to 12 eggs with just a pile of ham, cheese on top, bunch of seasonings, 2 slices of wheat toast, a double scoop protein shake,
dude, all of that
and a little bowl of yogurt.
All of that in one breakfast is disgusting.
It is so much food. I had to force myself to eat it.
I just think there's not even 150 plus grams of protein in one meal is just like too much.
Here's the thing. It worked. It worked and I liked it. Now, granted, it was kind of expensive to eat that every day.
12 eggs? Yeah, literally a carton of eggs every day. That's insane.
That was when I could get eggs fairly cheap. Like 5 dozen eggs at Costco was like $10.
Yeah.
So didn't really matter. I could eat as many eggs as I wanted, but it was pretty awesome.
I could never do that.
I would love to see you try and eat that breakfast.
No, it would be terrible. I couldn't do the eggs. The eggs alone I couldn't do.
Really?
Because I would be so sick of the eggs.
If you had to pick how to cook eggs, like, and eat that many, what would you choose? Scrambled?
I'd probably have to be scrambled, but it just, like, I could not. It's too many eggs. It's too many eggs. No way.
It is a lot of eggs.
Okay, the next thing before we get on to why I think filming yourself is so beneficial, and I have some examples of this, is sleep. So I've talked about this before. My sleep's been pretty good most of this year, but I wanted to try and clean it up a little bit more. And this is probably going to be one of the toughest habits for me to break. Everyone always says, no screens an hour before bed. And I was like, okay, you know what? Everyone says it. Let's just give it a shot. So one night I tried it, and the sad thing was, the first immediate thought that came to my mind was, what am I going to do for an hour without a screen? And in that moment, I was like, seriously? You can't, what are you, an iPad baby? You can't go 1 hour without a screen? Like, shut up.
It's kind of sad when you think about it.
Yeah.
But like, you think about all the hobbies that we have and things we do involve screens. Like, for me, I like messing around with cameras. Those have screens. FPV drones, obviously I'm not doing that at night, but that has a screen. Video games, everything we do.
Phone.
Involves screens.
TV.
I'm just going to be sitting there doing sit-ups and crunches. I'd be more beneficial.
It would be more beneficial. But so anyways, I read a book. I'm reading a pickleball book right now, just about some strategy stuff. So, but that night, I did no screen an hour before bed. I read, which kind of wore me out. And then I immediately, it's very hard for me to get to 9 hours of sleep. I would say 8, 7.5 to 8 is probably about my average. But hitting 9, for whatever reason, my body just won't do it. I just wake up and it just won't go anymore. That night, immediately, 9 hours of sleep. And I felt awesome. So I was like, okay, this clearly works. Now, it is going to be tough for me because I do like playing some video games at night with some friends just to wind down. But it's definitely going to be a conflict in my brain now. Like, maybe I'll just have to start trying to play earlier because the benefit I saw from the sleep, I was like, wow, this is big. And I would like to do this more. But sometimes it's just difficult. Maybe I'm catching up on some late night work or something. So I got to find that balance. That one's going to be a little tricky, but it worked. I was shocked. I would have expected to have to do that more regularly before I noticed. But I noticed a big difference. And I think that's the thing I want everyone to know with all of this, like health type stuff, is it's not always an immediate benefit. Sometimes you got to do this for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe even a month before you notice a big difference. Like, I'm not going to claim that the first time you do a dynamic warm up and then post-match stretching, that the next day you're going to feel the best you've ever felt. You might have to do that 4, 5, 6 times, maybe even more before you notice a difference. But you do these things, one, not only are they good for you, just your health long-term, but also it would help your pickleball.
100%.
Like, you know, time off injured sucks. You know, how many people do we know that are injured and can't play and still play through an injury?
Oh my gosh, so many people.
Me included.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's bad. So, yeah, sleep is a big one I'm going to start trying to ramp up even a little bit more than I already had been.
Yeah.
Okay. Last thing before we wrap up this podcast, I probably should have done that before all the health stuff because the pickleball people, this is the thing you're probably going to care about more than what I just talked about. But I wanted to talk again about filming yourself and why I think it's so important. So with Chasing 5-0, I have been filming all my drill sessions and looking for things to work on, things that I'm bad at in technique, because when you film yourself, you find all sorts of things you didn't know that you do. And so that's why I'm bringing up this phone tripod again.
Yet again. It's back.
Boom. The phone tripod's back. Okay. I got homework for you. If you guys made it to the kitchen, you officially entered Chris's classroom.
You're some real ones.
You got homework. And there better be at least one of you that comments next week and completed this. If there's not one out of 20,000 people that takes this assignment, I'm going to be disappointed. Okay. This phone tripod, it is called the Ulanzi, Ulanzi MT44. Look that up on Amazon, Ulanzi MT44. It is a phone tripod. You can see it in my hand right now. It is not that big. If I hold it up to Isaac's fake ghost, it's like
fake.
It's like the length of 2 energy drinks.
It fits in every backpack. It's light.
And I'll even, for those of you watching, I'll even expand this quick.
It opens quickly. It a very small footprint. So if you're at a court that like has tight fencing, it more than likely will not be in the way.
Yeah. And then, so here's the base, and then you can just extend this up real easily. Has a ball head to adjust the angle. Like, it's great.
It can hold a phone if you have a DJI Osmo, which I know a lot of people do. Yep. GoPro. It can hold all these small cameras, even some like really small mirrorless cameras it could hold, but I don't know how much I'd trust that if it's windy.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's small, it's light, easy to carry around, and it's very, very useful.
It's $20. I promise you it'll be the best $20 you ever spend on your pickleball game.
Like 4 of them here.
Yeah. I have one in my car, one in my pickleball bag, one in the car, or in the house. Like I've got one of these everywhere, so I never have any excuse not to have it.
Yeah.
Okay. So someone go buy this, and then your homework assignment is coming up here in a second. Buying it is only step 1. Okay. So this week I filmed a lot of things, but one of the things I wanted to work on was when people drive the ball at me, blocking, but also specifically not just being passive with it. I wanted to like punch the ball back, and like if someone hits a bad drive, like I want to punish them, like make them go off the court, whatever it is. And so I was working on that this week, and I felt like I made some decent progress. And then when I watched the video of myself, which we'll put on screen now, my swing was so bad, and I had no idea how bad it was, that I was like sitting there stunned. So the first thing is, with a punch volley, you're just going to take the paddle back briefly, and then you're just going to extend forward.
It's more of like an elbow extension than a swing.
Correct.
You're just going back forward with your elbow.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I was taking the paddle back further than I needed to. Not way back, but definitely further than needed. And I would swing through, and not only would I swing like I'm doing a swinging volley, and then my arm ends up way out and like to the side of me, but I'd also break my wrist. And I could tell I was doing that to try and like snap the ball more and like get more power on it. But a big problem I've always had with this shot is my timing. I can tell I miss the center sometimes. I may dump it in the net. And then when I saw this swing, I was like, holy cow, no wonder you have such a hard time with this. You're not even doing a punch volley right. Like a punch volley should be here, boom, extended, done. Yeah. It shouldn't go any further than straight out in front of you, and that's it. And even for hands, that'd be great, because then you're ready for the next one. So I saw that, and then the very next day, I went out. I had my other brother drive the ball at me, filmed myself. I thought I fixed it. I did better, but still wasn't perfect. And then I knew what I did wrong. You came over today and said, we're going to do this one more time because we're going to talk about this on the podcast. Way better.
Oh, yeah.
It's not perfect, but when you compare these side by side, which you guys will see on screen, it is night and day difference. And the difference in how I feel when I hit that shot, how balanced I feel, the timing, everything, way better.
And I feel like, that's most shots. Everyone can improve by just compacting their swings and shortening their swings on pretty much everything. Dinks, volleys, some drives, overheads, like everything, just compact it down is probably going to be better. Consistency goes way up. You'll generate pretty much the same amount of power if you're doing it properly. It's just better.
Yeah. I just cannot recommend filming yourself enough. Until you see it, you don't actually know what you're doing. I can't tell you, I've been doing this for years, filming myself, and the amount of times I think I'm doing one thing and then find out I'm doing another, you just wouldn't know unless you filmed yourself. Mm-hmm. So your homework is to buy the tripod, find a shot that you know you're trying to improve, film it in slow motion. If you own an iPhone or an Android, it doesn't matter. I promise you, basically every phone in the last 5 years has slow motion on it. Find your slow motion mode. Set it to 240 frames if you have it. 120 is fine too. 240 is better though. Set it to that, film it, and then just watch the shots back. You don't even have to really show it to someone. You can probably intuitively understand what you're doing wrong.
Even just by watching pros, seeing what they do and try and mimic it.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I've learned. Every sport I've ever played, that's the fastest way I learn how to do things.
It's just mimicking?
Mimicking pros and watching someone I think that fits me the most or who I like the most, and just literally trying to copy exactly what they do.
Yeah.
A lot of things that I do in pickleball and try to copy is very JW-esque.
Yeah.
So find somebody you like and mimic it. If it works for them, it'll more than likely work for you. Yeah. That's not always the case. But.
Right. Of course. Yeah. It can't be understated how beneficial it is. And it's like, it's effectively free. You already own the phone. You just got to buy the tripod one time. And there's just so many benefits to it. Like the amount of times I've seen myself and just gone, oh, wow, like I immediately know what the fix is. I don't even have to ask someone. And that might not be the case for everyone, but sometimes you just see yourself do something really weird. You're like, why did my wrist do that? Or why did I step with my foot that way? Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, even recently, I've been doing a mid-court attack drill where I drive the ball, crash, and then hit another one. And I noticed multiple things I was doing wrong. One, I roll every ball. I never really hit them flat. But the second thing is my split step, when I've drove the ball and I'm running in and then split stepping, my stance is like very narrow and I'm kind of upright. And I'm like, dude, why are your feet not wider and further apart? Like, it'd be easier to bounce to wherever the ball is going next. And so, like, again, I didn't know I was doing that till I filmed it. In fact, I probably thought I was doing it awesome.
One of the biggest things that everyone thinks they're doing that they're not is so simple, just bending their knees. Everyone's like, oh, I'm bending my knees. You watch yourself back, boy, you are standing straight up.
Yep.
Like,
and I'm in that camp.
Everybody does it. Like, that's the one thing that you just constantly have to remind yourself. Like, when I'm in more serious matches, I'm constantly telling myself, like, get low. You can get lower.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You're pretty much never going to be too low.
Yeah. I mean, look at, like, Vivian David.
On the ground.
She is practically, her butt is on the ground. Yeah. So you can always get lower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I completely agree.
Get a tripod, record yourself. You might think you're doing things properly or you're doing it a certain way. You're probably not.
Yeah. It's just...
Until you've watched yourself do it, there's always that expectation versus reality where you think you're doing something amazing and then you watch yourself and you're like, ooh.
And even this, my men's partner who I was drilling with, he was like, hey, you're doing this on this shot. And I was like, okay, it doesn't really feel like it, but I believe you. And then when I went and looked back at the footage, I immediately felt like I saw the problem. I was like, this is what he was trying to explain to me. And now that I've seen it, I kind of know how to correct my body to make it not do that anymore.
It's one of the funniest things. In every sport that I've coached people in, people always get so defensive over it. Where they're like, I tell them like, hey, you're not doing this. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm telling you, I feel like I'm doing it. I know I am. And then when you actually show them a video, they're like, oh, you're right. Well, of course I'm right. I'm watching you do it. I'm telling you you're not. But everyone always gets so defensive over it immediately.
Totally. So, yeah, I had to mention that again because I think a big part of, me hopefully hitting 5-0 this year is it's going to be filming myself. And watching yourself for games is equally as beneficial. I think if you know there's shots you want to work on, I would recommend doing it in slow motion. If you're filming games, don't film it in slow motion. But even just watching yourself in a game, you're like, wait, why do I go up to the kitchen so slowly? Or why am I attacking this ball that's like on the ground at the net? Like I shouldn't be trying to take that out of the air. You can find all these little things you do and go, let's cut that out.
Yeah. Further off the kitchen line than you should be.
Yep. You might even pick up patterns of like every time I hit a forehand drop from the left side, I miss it when I go to this spot. If
you're Chris, you might think you're covering the line and you're not.
Now, that one, unfortunately, I know I'm not covering the line. I have no excuse there. But yeah, I think filming your games is equally as beneficial. And if you want to, cut down time even more, you could use something like PB Vision. I've been using that lately, and it's been very beneficial. I think they even just revamped their pricing structure, so it's a little bit more user-friendly, I would say. But it's great for a lot of different reasons. One, because it actually gives you some analytics about your game, and then you can spot some trends, which is awesome. Like, how deep were your serves? Are they normally shallow, mid-court, deep? Same thing with returns, all that. And then the biggest thing to me that is the most helpful is the shot explorer. So if you're like, dude, okay, I just need to see my backhand third shot drop. You can literally go into this filter thing, click backhand, click third shot drop, and then it will show you every single backhand third shot drop that you hit. And so instead of having to find these and take your time to sift through the video and figure it out, you just upload this video, it finds it, boom, one filter, and now you can watch them all back immediately. It's so nice.
Yeah.
Like being able to filter, and you can filter like third shot, fourth shot, fifth shot, volley, non-volley, like all these different things. And I think it's a big time saver for people who are serious about improving and want to find certain trends about themselves. It's not for everyone, and it's definitely not perfect. I think it's getting better and better, but it still has some times where it reads a person wrong or thinks someone hit it when they didn't.
Still a very useful tool.
Yeah, very useful. Highly recommend.
Like I would say tripod, PB Vision, like those two things combined is probably some of the best way. If you're serious about improving, that is some of the most efficient way to spend money to improve skill level.
Yeah, I agree. You find, for example, you find those things out, and then you figure out what you're doing wrong. Like, okay, you know what? I always miss this type of third shot drop. You go grab a coach a couple times. Maybe you do 2-3 sessions with that coach, and they fix that shot for you. Repeat the cycle.
Well, and a lot of people might think they're like, oh man, my mid-court resets are bad. And that may be true, but it could be because other shots are the actual core problem.
It's setting you up for a bad reset.
Exactly. You might need to improve your drop rather than your... You can always improve your resets, but it'd probably be better to improve your drop first, and PB Vision will actually show you what you're doing wrong better than just like thinking about during a game, like, oh, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah, totally. So yeah, I just highly recommend all those tools. I'll try and leave everything linked down in the description for you. This week's word is going to be tripod.
Tripod.
Have fun working tripod into your sentence this week. But I'm telling you right now, if there is not at least 5 people in the comments next week that bought this tripod and told me what they worked on and found a flaw in their game, out of 20,000 people that watch this podcast, I'm going to be sad.
We have zero affiliation with this company, by the way. This is just a product that we really like, and it's a great product. We don't have a discount code or anything. We just think it's extremely useful. So,
but if you, Lonzy, if you ever, I own a bunch of your products already, so if you want to hit me up,
by all means, send us stuff.
If you want to give away some tripods to the people, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
They make a lot of camera tools. So anyways, that's all I got this week. How about you?
I think that's it for me.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, guys, and we will catch you next week.
Peace.